Sage is a wonderful garden plant. You can grow it in the veggie garden or you can grow it in the ornamental garden. It's got wonderful foliage, but it's also a great culinary herb. You can use it in roast, you can use it in making a classic saltimbocca, or you can use it in a burnt butter sauce for gnocchi or whatever you like. And it's easy to grow from cuttings. So let's get into it. Crowded on the potting bench at the moment, but you will need some compost or potting soil, and we're using this. It's a fairly open mixture. Before you start, fill the pots with potting mix. Fill them up to the top. The potting mix will sink down a little later on. Give the pots a bit of a tap just to firm it down. And although this is optional, you will get a better strike rate if you're using a rooting hormone. This is the liquid form. You can also get it in powdered form. Taking the cutting. We like to take our cuttings just where the new growth, this green growth here, turns into last year's growth. So it's a little bit darker colour. And if you feel along here, you'll find that there are little nodes. So we're going to take the cutting just below a node like that. We'll take another one. Again, it's just below a node, and the nodes are where the leaves come off the stem. If there aren't any leaves, you can feel the bump. Now, it's usually said don't take cuttings from flowering stems. Well, it's sort of true and sort of not, because you can simply cut the flowers off the stem. And again, you're going to do that above a node. We move down a little bit here. We'll see a leaf coming off here. We can snip off the flower head above that node. And then we can go further down to last year's growth. Again, snipping off just below a node. So here are our cuttings. We need to prepare them properly by stripping all of this foliage off the lower end of the cutting. You can pinch them off with your fingers like this. You could use secateurs like this. And what we're doing is we'll make this a reasonably long cutting. So we'll take that off there. We'll take that off there. And then we've got one leaf on the top. Cut that in half. That's going to lower transpiration. These are smaller cuttings and probably a better way to do it. Again, we're simply pinching these bottom leaves off. Take that one off too. Because we've got lots of small leaves up the top, I'll just cut these two in half. And again, what we're aiming at doing is reducing transpiration. Our third cutting, the same thing. Pinching out or cutting off these lower leaves. Trimming back the top foliage to reduce transpiration. And we're done. The ideal length for the cuttings is more like these, and that's about 4 inches. This one, 5 or 6 inches, perhaps a little bit too long, but it will still work. We're dipping the cuttings into the rooting hormone, and then we'll just sit them up to dry just for 10 to 15 seconds while we do the other ones. Now, the compost in these pots is reasonably damp, but we're just going to add a little bit more moisture. And now we're ready to plant our cuttings. It's really simple. Make a hole, get the cutting down into the hole, firm down, and you're done. This pot's a little bit taller, but we're still going to make a nice deep hole in this one, and we will put our longer cutting in. The reason we make the hole is it prevents some of that hormone mixture being pushed off when you're planting the cuttings. Now, you can buy specialist dibbler sticks for doing this, but we just use a stick. So that's it for planting your cuttings. But we do need to put our covers on. So these will go over the top and into the pot, so they're nice and firm. And talking about weather, as we mentioned before, the time to take these cuttings is in late spring to early summer, while the plants are in good new growth and before the weather gets too hot. The next part is maintaining humidity, and we do this again with our little mist sprayer, spraying down through the top, just making sure that you also get some on the foliage of the plants. So here we are back at the propagation bench, and here are our 3 sage plants. They're all growing really well, putting on lots of new growth. This one here, we've pruned the top out of so that we get a more bushy growth habit. So here are our 3 sage plants. They're all growing well, but they're not ready to plant out into the garden just yet. You need to wait until they have time to develop a good root system. So we'll leave them in these pots for around about 3 months. We will fertilise them with a liquid fertiliser. We'll make sure that they stay moist. If you wanted to, at this stage, you could prune out the top of these plants. And if you cut it back to round about here, you'll find that you get a bushier plant, more like this one. And if you do prune them out, of course, you can use the leaves. When you plant them out, you can put them into a terracotta pot, something like that, or you can plant them out directly into the garden. Our top tip for maintaining your sage plants is to prune them regularly. Don't let them develop long woody stems. Keep pruning them back, always pruning back to above where there's some healthy green growth. Keep them pruned back, keep them bushy, keep them watered, keep them fertilised, and they'll keep growing. We've got lots more videos on growing herbs and a whole range of vegetables, and indeed a whole range of garden plants. So subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates, and as always, good luck with your gardening.